make me the happiest mother of Freddie on earth?
It's preview and predictions time for the 7th episode of the season, I Go To Toledo. We'll be looking at the synopsis and preview pictures, and from there I'll be making some predictions and analysis. Welcome to the Third Win channel. Let's start with the synopsis for the episode, which is Carly plans a bachelorette party for Miss Benson, based around her favorite show, Toledo House Flip. Upon arriving in Toledo, Harper, Millicent, and the rest of the gang experience more than what they signed up for. While Carly tries to impress Miss Benson, Freddie and Spencer are reluctantly dragged into creating a bachelor party for Lubert. The wedding between Lubert and Marissa is upon us in the finale, and what happens before a wedding? Bachelor and bachelorette parties, and I have a feeling we'll be served iCarly style fun for these. Better yet, we have some pictures to inspect before we discuss this further. In our first picture here, we see the bachelorette gang. Carly, Harper, Millicent, the bride Marissa, and the aforementioned maid of honor. From book club, Danica. They are having a daytime drink over the counter in Carly and Harper's apartment, and Millicent is having a hot cocoa. As we learned in the synopsis, our gang is going to Toledo, so this is probably the first scene of the episode. Also, if you look closely at their attire, you can see they have "Flip This Bee" tagged on their chest. Here we see Carly and Harper side by side, and there are some brochures being held. Could be the itinerary or a brochure for the Toledo House Flip experience, something like that. Maybe Carly is talking with Harper about her plans to impress Marissa or her potential new mother-in-law. In this next picture, we get a good shot of Carly and Freddie in what looks like the same scene. Freddie maybe walks in. Carly seems to be surprised by something Freddie just told her. Also, we can see the brochures in better detail here, and it says, information, party like they do in Toledo, but I really do wonder what they might be talking about here. Before we go to Toledo, we also have this picture of Paul, who will be joining the boys' bachelor party. Maybe he's making a toast, not sure, but he's in the iCarly studio, and I'm glad we get to see more Paul. Going to be exciting to see his reaction to Carly and Freddie dating. Now, going over to Toledo, we see the bachelorette party will feature them seemingly actually house flipping in their pink workers gear, and we see that Freddie and Spencer have crashed the party. In this next picture, we can see the guys' entrance, James Bond style, and you can see the pink gear in the background. Maybe they've come to help the girls with the house flipping. I love that they've added Paul to the gang, and it's going to be fun to see his interactions with Lubert. Continuing with movie allusions, here we see Marissa basically reenacting the famous "Here's Johnny" scene from The Shining. Maybe she'll say "Here's Marissa." Very fun. Now, finally, in the last picture, we have seemingly a great Creddy moment. Very cute. Also notice Carly's work shoes and Danica's lack of a worker's hat. All fun details. That's all we had to look at for this upcoming episode. Now let's do some analysis and predictions for I Go To Toledo. First, Paul being in this episode I think is a great sign for his longevity in the show. I could easily have imagined Gibby standing in his place here, but now he's one of the guys. The more Josh Peck we get, the happier I am. You could make the opposite statement for Tinsley not being here with Harper, but maybe she wouldn't be invited anyway, but if Pearl was still around, she would be here. I guess I'm still just curious about what they're doing with Tinsley and Harper this season. We have some slightly odd looks between Carly and Freddie in this episode. In these two pictures, they both have this suspended look about them, but then in this picture, they seem to be back as usual. Could it be that they have a little fight in this episode? Probably not, especially as Carly's focus this episode will be pleasing Miss Benson, but what do you guys think? What are these interactions about? Another thing, Freddie and Paul wear the same thing all episode. If it was a flight across the country, I feel like they would have changed at some point. Maybe this is obvious or maybe it's just me. Either way, I felt compelled to point it out. Another observation that dawned on me right now for I don't know why, this season is really revolved around two relationships. Carly and Freddie and Marissa and Lubert. When we look at this season retrospectively, this season will be labeled as the love season, probably. Last one, put Spencer, Lubert, and Paul in a room. I think things can get pretty interesting, don't you think? Well, anyway, moving on, 3 predictions for this episode, and feel free to join along in the comments, but here are mine. 1, maybe they won't be going to Toledo in Ohio, but the much smaller Toledo in Oregon. 2, Paul and Lubert are going to have some funny interactions. 3, seeing Marissa and Lubert getting ready to get married is going to get Carly and Freddie thinking. I think that'll do it for this preview and predictions. This episode looks like a really good time, but it's hard to say where things will go. Super excited for this to drop tomorrow. But anyways, thank you for watching this preview. Shout out to Corey and Sarah, and I'll see you all tomorrow for the review of episode 7.